This is Delhi. The time now is just past 5:50 p.m. Our next broadcast follows.
This is All India Radio. You will now hear comments from the press. Financial Express in its editorial title, Getting Drought Ready, writes, more than 40% of India faces drought this year, with half of this area said to experience severe to exceptional drought as per a business standard analysis of the IIT Gandhinagar's drought early warning system. The pre-monsoon rains have fallen short of usual by 23%, the worst deficit in 6 years. As of May 25, nearly 6% of India's land area was in the exceptionally dry category, 7 times the area that was classified as such the same time last year. A little over 16% of the country's area was in the extremely and exceptionally dry categories, nearly 4 times that last year. Since the 1950s, there has been a decline in monsoon rainfall, while the frequency of heavy rainfall events has also increased. As per a 2018 paper by researchers at 2 IITs, Indore and Gandhinagar, only 241 of India's 634 districts are drought resilient. The factors that affect India's water security are numerous. Thus, there are multiple prescriptions of developing drought readiness. To start with, the country needs to urgently add reservoir capacity. While it receives an annual precipitation of about 4,000 billion cubic meter BCM, the country makes a heavy discount for evaporation of 2,131 BCM. Of the remaining 1,869 BCM, the water eventually available for utilization is 1,123 BCM. Now, against the losses of close to 2,900 BCM, the reservoir storage capacity in the country is a mere 257 BCM. Some of the constraints might be topographical or otherwise insurmountable, but surely India could do a lot better here. Just 34% of India's cultivated area has access to irrigation. This means the rain-fed majority is highly dependent on groundwater. But vulnerability is increasing because of the rapid depletion of groundwater. Even without climate change, 15% of India's groundwater resources are overexploited. Part of the problem is the large subsidies given by states to the farm sector for power, which enables indiscriminate groundwater pumping and fertilizer, the excessive application of which changes the soil's water requirement. Thankfully, states like Punjab are beginning to wean farmers away from this. But at the crux of this is farmers sowing crops ill-suited to a region's soil type and water availability. A water-deficient Maharashtra dedicating 2/3 of its irrigation water to sugarcane, grown on just 4% of the state's water woes. Says, Haryana's decision to incentivize diversion of cropland from water-guzzling paddy to less water-consuming crops like maize, pulses and others is a welcome step towards mitigating the high water footprint of its agriculture. Widespread rice cultivation is deemed the chief cause of rapid decline in groundwater in nearly 75% of the state. Paddy, especially non-basmati paddy, has not been the traditional crop of this inherently water-stressed state. It was introduced chiefly to meet the needs of the other food deficit regions, most of which are now growing enough rice on their own. Haryana therefore need not expand its scarce water on cultivating non-basmati rice, each kilogram of which takes a massive 3,000 to 3,500 litres of water to grow. The SOPs mooted to spur changes in cropping pattern include 2,000 rupees per acre as cash, free seeds of the alternative crops, full reimbursement of crop insurance premium and a sure procurement of the output at the minimum support prices fixed by the centre. The potential advantages of crop diversification, on the other hand, can be many. Apart from saving water, it can stave off the demand for power and diesel needed for running irrigation equipment. Besides, it can help improve environment by cutting down emissions of greenhouse gases like methane and nitrous oxide, which are spewed routinely from the flooded paddy fields and the smoke generated by burning paddy stubbles. Most importantly, inclusion of legumes or pulses in the cropping systems can restore soil health by fixing nitrogen into it, thus diminishing the fertilizer requirement of the subsequent crops. It is therefore imperative to economize the use of water in agriculture through measures like crop diversifications, strict regulations of groundwater extraction and pricing water in accordance with its scarcity value. The Hindustan Times in its editorial title, ICC World Cup 2019, Consistency will be key, says, with no dominant team, this is the most open and unpredictable World Cup ever. The ICC Cricket World Cup, the game's showpiece event, begins in London today. This edition is set to become one of the most open, competitive and unpredictable in recent times. Those were the comments from the press, presented to you by the News Services Division of All India Radio.